Welcome to Sons of the Warrior, episode
8.
Yep, there it is.
See, I took the words right out of your mouth.
Yes, you did.
Because I knew what you were about to say, because I knew the number. Because last time we did this, it was episode 7. So I just assumed that it was 8 this time.
Yeah.
And when you were saying that, I jumped in there because I already knew what we were on.
Yeah. No, that's good. Hey, I'm just excited that we're not having to re-record 3 episodes just to get one now.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. The technical issues seem to be ironed out. We are working on getting some guests in over the phone, so that may be a whole nother issue on
Special guest from the internet.
yeah.
Isn't that going to be special?
That will be
Metaverse.
nice.
We'll be able to get all kinds of crazy people. Y'all won't even...
We just got guys out there in the VR and they
Random stranger on the streets. Tell us about
seen
it.
some of those training montages that they'll put on? Oh, come play VR.
Sure.
No, I don't
I
watch
mean-
video games.
No, it's not. it's not
well-
video games. It's actual facilities where you go in and they give you the fake rifles.
Yeah.
And it's
Kid stuff, video games.
Yeah.
Miss Liv doesn't know nothing about that.
It's crazy. I used to
don't,
play video
actually.
games all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Total waste of time.
All the time. Now I have no
Total
time
waste
for
of
video
time.
games. I have an Xbox that just sits on the floor at Tom's house.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And
When you became a man, you put away childish things.
that's what I'm saying. I'm doing too much all the time. Like tomorrow you'll get
I
to
don't
get
know
up.
how you
boom,
have time to
Jam,
do it.
Either.
Go buy a 7.3. Boom. Then you're at work.
Time for
you ain't
video
got no
games.
time for nothing.
I don't even have time. Ever since we got out of jail, I've not been able to sit down and allow myself to watch a movie. I mean, I think I have
You
seen
watch-
maybe
Yeah.
I think a show or something, but just watching a movie, you're sitting there golly, I have so much to do right now. I cannot. I don't know what I'm doing right now watching
it's,
this.
it's that ADHD.
But it's like when
kicking
you
in.
have, when
No,
you have,
but you're
well,
just
it's
so
like the
big,
time you
man.
have down, you're usually visiting with somebody or you're,
I feel like there's more important things to do. I feel like it's such a sucker of 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just sucks it away, and then you're just left with nothing. I mean,
And-
I can tell how it can bring enjoyment, but
at this point in life, though, when
Yeah, right
you're
now,
trying to make up for 4 years,
I've
it's kind of.
enjoyed a handful of movies since I've been at.
Yeah.
I've gone to the movie theater 4 times probably. You know.
Wow.
I
Joey's over there
mean,
living his best
I
life.
can
No, that's
see
all right.
It's really, it's joyful.
But I can't do it at the house.
Well, what's a word?
Can't watch a movie at the house. I think mine's not so much I have too much to do. Mine's I don't have the attention span to do it.
Oh, just
If
I have what is it? I have zero attention span. I'm so but I don't feel like I'm any different.
That was good.
But I can't focus on one thing. Even editing the podcast, which hats off to anybody who does a podcast and does it full time, especially those every day. I don't understand. That's some dedication.
Day podcasters are
Yes,
animals.
you guys are animals, and I don't understand that. But good for you.
You're doing great.
But I can't I'll do it for a little while, and then I got to go do something else, and I got to go come back to this, and I got to do something else. Otherwise, I just I'll just start going crazy.
Wow. I don't know if y'all have noticed
Anyways.
this. I'm sure you have. I mean, you're just, chomping at the bits to say something about it. But super cool shirt that I'm wearing. I know what you're thinking. Wow, that looks like a bull rider would wear that because it's just so loud. Yeah, it is. It's a loud shirt, and I figured I'd wear it for everyone to see. It's pretty extravagant.
Yeah.
It's like snake skin, but like a peacock. It's wild, man.
Don't.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
just
telling you, dude. It's
We're gonna
it's
do
live
the
action.
wise thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was so loud until you
Notice it? Yeah, I don't know how you didn't.
started analyzing it.
I wore it on the job site one time, and you usually got to wear high vis and everything else. The neon.
They told 'em
green.
to turn it
and they're
down.
like, dude, that's some high vis right now. I could see you from a long
High
ways off.
visualization.
Like I know you
I've-
can.
I feel like it's all. No, I feel like
I feel like you're more high vis than he is.
Yeah,
on
I
this
feel like
one.
it's almost camouflage. Like you could.
You've got the fall pumpkin spice latte vibes
Yeah.
going on.
Now me, I got stripes going upside down and at an angle, so that's kind of clashing.
That is-
that's a little
that's
fiery.
all over.
But you got snap. You're so. Well,
No,
you
but
both
the-
got
I
snap.
always got the pearl snaps. Well, these are
You
the
got
That's
double.
party mode, you know. What I'm
these
saying?
are the black
easy
snaps.
on, easy off.
Oh,
Okay.
Anyway,
Speaking of easy on, easy off, check out this floral print.
Now
on the-
I love that. If anybody wants to give me a gift for my birthday,
She just
That's
wants that
not anytime
prodigy with that
soon.
holster.
I want that
She
holster.
wanted to just take the
Oh,
holster.
just the holster?
She didn't want the
I
actual
don't really
gun.
like the gun.
The new
So-
It feels weird and like,
snubby prodigy.
yeah, it's like the barrel's too small for the handle. The handle's so fat that the
It needs a 4-inch barrel.
It
really
feels
Stack
weird.
1911, dude.
Anyways,
Yup.
But
just my thoughts. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be great for somebody else.
so there's some things
I'm
on
not
this
loving that
table
gun.
that I just been wanting to talk about. One, the Prodigy, amazing. I
Here,
love
you wanna
it.
hold it for a second?
I'll hold it for a second. So
Okay,
we
you
got
can
this
hold
bad boy right here. Optic cut, 3-inch barrel, front cockpit serrations, night sights, 15-round magazine. Just everything you could ever love in a pistol. Single action, basically just a high capacity 1911, and beautiful carry gun. And then the other thing we had that's just
It's just
hanging out
It's
up
just
there.
hanging out. Look at this thing.
little known fact,
It is
maybe
pretty.
only to the guys who come in here a lot, we have our SOT2, so we are now carrying suppressors, machine guns, short-barreled rifles, explosive devices. I think we
Wait a
did all those
second.
all the
things.
fun
Now,
toys
the only
you'd
thing we
ever
have is
want.
that suppressor, but I believe it opened us up.
The only
to
thing
all
in the
those
shop,
other
though, is
options.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, most definitely.
So if you love to party, come on down to Raptor because we have one.
This is
can.
where the party's at.
And,
all right.
it's got
Party
somebody's name on it for sure. We'll try to get whatever else we can. Yeah.
I
that's good.
literally. I know you asked me about how today went.
Yeah.
All day, literally, my eyes were bleeding looking at ATF regulations on how to do Form 1s, Form 4s, how to make sure we abide by every regulation ATF has.
That's a lot.
There's talk
Yeah,
about
my
regulation.
My nerves are shot. So
There
and
is
also-
so many freaking regulations on everything. You got to get a license for everything you do. Like trying to open up a freaking coffee shop. I'm sorry.
She's just so upset.
Yeah,
You are
no, it's
opening
like
up a
I have to have a bazillion things of paperwork. You have to have a permit if you park here. You have to permit if you have to go
Bazillion
this.
is not
You
a
have
real
to. Yes, it is.
I'm sorry.
And you have
fake
to have
news.
your food hand. Like I don't know. There's too. You have to get a license if you want to drive. You have to get a license if you want to get married. You have to get a license if you want to have. Pay taxes. You have to have certain
Unless
numbers and
you just
paperwork
do
and
life. Just do life.
it's like, and
I-
we say we're a free
no.
country. My
Even with that, I used to have somebody, an old guy that I would listen to back in the
90.
back
Wow.
in, it was
In the
back
way,
in the
way
90s.
Wow,
back?
really? Was
Yeah,
it really
it was
back
back
in
in
so
the
you
long
like,
ago?
Like,
back in our day,
Back in my
the
day.
old
when-
90s.
I heard. Oh no, you go ahead and finish.
But he would he would ask or start the conversation when he'd have a guest on. He would be like, "So what is the government not involved in your life?" I forget exactly the wording. He passed away since then, so I haven't heard him in a long time. But he's like, "What is the government not intruding into your life in?" And they would be like, "Oh, well, he doesn't intrude in the bedroom." And he's like, "Well, do you
gotta
do you
get
do
a
it on a mattress?" He's like, they regulate the manufacturing of mattresses. I mean, they are
In
down.
bed making.
That it's everything, every single part of your life. It was a little crude, but it was every single part of your life. They are involved. Jerry Hughes was his name,
Jerry Hughes.
the OG talk show.
That's who we were trying to think of the name of the guy the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But speaking of that, being in the 90s, I was hearing
You were there for like 5 days.
what's his name? Hey,
Facts.
all right, I did
99.
I hang out in the 90s for a year. All right, so I know a little thing about the 90s.
He partied like it was 1999.
But anyways, what's his name? The guy that wrote Richmond from Richmond,
Oliver
something.
Anthony Oliver.
Yeah, but he was just saying, we're the last generation to know life before like the media expansion.
That would be
That would be awesome.
us. This end of
No, I know, but
Yeah, people.
he's that same age. But knowing that life before you didn't have everybody with instant answers to everything, instant
Google.
gratification, instant. I mean, just all the absolute top quality.
not understanding
Yeah.
what life is like without a cell phone.
Right, exactly. All the answers at your
And
fingertips,
internet.
and what that's like, and what it is. It's scary to think what that next generation is going to be like.
Once
not knowing-
all of the
not
say we
growing up
die off.
without that time, without the media, because I feel like we were raised that way just because Dad held us back from all the media for a long time, and so we were able to be raised, with
Kind of without like a little
without
barrier.
it.
Yeah.
A little bit barrier, which is good parenting. You should not have
Your 2-year-old on a tablet
two-year-olds
all
be
day
on
long.
a tablet.
Yeah.
Because that's a very important time for them to be able to grow and be able to,
Touch grass.
I mean, just
Their creativity
their
is. I feel like it's
creativity
just
gets
well
shot. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Your attention.
because it's like your attention's off.
span
Yeah.
is-
You have no creative thinking because you just like you're in a screen all day. I mean, even as an adult, like it squelches your creativity because the amount that clarity and stuff that we got back when we totally off phones for the time we were
Oh,
gone.
yeah. It's amazing.
It's like you had so much more time, and even if you didn't have all the information at your fingertips, you had like the ability to think clearer and to remember certain facts that you don't remember because we have so much information just in our brains. You're having to keep up with everybody. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Social media, I think, is one of the worst. It's good in some ways, and yeah, it'll help your business and stuff, and advertising. But I don't know. There's a balance, and I don't know if it's worth the.
I
worth
don't
the
believe
other,
it is.
but-
I believe it's
and
such
stuff,
a
but it's just hard.
bleach
Yeah,
to
it is.
society. Just to see the people my age and younger, the way they think and everything else. It's sad just to think. What's it going to be like when they start raising kids, and what those kids are going to be like.
Oh, you
And
see
it's
it.
We're already seeing it.
it's like,
And a lot.
man,
The sad
it's-
thing is, a lot of it is
it's
their
t-
grandparents are raising the kids, and that's what.
Oh, yeah.
They're not.
No,
raising-
because
I
the
mean,
sad thing
because
is it's you just have so much instant gratification. You can live through other people's lives so much easier. You don't actually have to put in the work to build a house. You don't have to actually put in the work to start your business. You can watch other people do these things, and you get the same enjoyment watching someone else build something that's amazing, and you see the end product, and you're like, wow, I got the same fulfillment as if I did it
in
myself.
15
So
seconds,
now
yeah.
I don't have to do it. And it's like, man, you can, you have that same kind of dopamine rush, I guess, or that same snap that just says, oh yeah, you accomplished something. And it's fake. It's
I
all
wonder
just
if
a
they're-
made up sense of enjoyment or a sense of, accomplishment. And what that does to you mentally, I feel like the long-term effects they're scary, but
Yeah, I don't know if there's been a study done on that, but I wonder if that is something because you see, like, I became a forging expert. Like, I was a knife because I
Yeah.
watched every season of Forged in Fire while we were up here at the shop, and I became a knife expert, even though I had never done it. Like, I've never forged
Hey,
a knife.
We have opportunity right now.
I want to get a forge.
I did.
I
I
sent
see
you
it
a
on
forge.
Facebook Market.
Yeah.
They had a forge.
$300. The
cheap.
tools,
I'm like,
everything
But
forged,
there's
ready
so
to
many,
go.
like the anvil and the other tools that the forge is a huge part of it, but having a good anvil, those are hard to find.
Yeah.
Like a good solid steel anvil,
Nice
and you
dense one.
pay money.
American made. It's the only way.
But so I wonder if there is some study that would be a cool study to see done.
I'll be honest, I know
Whether-
nothing about anvils.
What?
No, I know nothing about it.
Honest, at least you're honest.
Hey, well,
Just throwing out these facts.
Unlike the guy who tried to sell me a truck today.
oh, that was
Yeah.
Anyway, but I wonder if the actual watching other people do something and getting some type of dopamine rush or some type of completion out of, even though you didn't do it, you didn't put the sweat equity, and that's
The swequity.
Fans.
yes,
Yeah.
Get on.
into that project, the time and attention, because that's one of the biggest things. You're watching a 45-minute episode of somebody building this knife, and it's taking hours and days sometimes to do these projects, and it's like you're just watching it done.
That's the thing
Yeah.
is you try to do it yourself and realize how much work it takes. You give up
Like,
on it.
dang.
Yeah.
Because you're like,
Yeah.
you know what,
It's
this is
worth it.
for the gratitude of actually finishing the project. It's so much more work. Why am I going to get myself into this? I'm just going to give up on this project and just watch somebody else do it. And you get yourself used to doing that. Hard work is harder than it looks, so I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm just going to
Well,
Hard
live
work
my
is hard.
hard work
live
is
my
for a
life
reason.
through other people. And speaking of this, I don't know if we were going to be talking about it, but I was thinking, you know,
are
it's just
now.
a random thought that went through the head, but you know, back in Noah's day, I feel like because our technology kind of blew up in the last 60 years, I guess.
No, like
Less than that, maybe. I guess in the
Well,
2000s, it just took off.
Things
Yeah.
were still carbureted in the 80s, so.
Yeah. No, but like in the 2000s, it just, once it hit the iPhone, it just boom, took off. And
there's a smartphone.
yeah, smartphones and things like that. I don't know what was the first thing, I guess.
I think once the internet hit,
once
Once
you
they had
the
the internet, it just took off.
You
But
watched.
you know, you see how fast just society has just almost tanked. Just you have so much things at your fingertips, but yet people are so unhappy. And people say, well, it's always been like that. You know, people have always just had hard times. And I don't know, because it just doesn't seem like you can get past what's going and how bad it's getting.
it's not the
how
same as
fast.
like when we were kids. Yeah, how it was.
And, you know, you
the
look at-
problems that
yeah.
people were facing to the problems that, you know, just people don't have, like the mental health and all the just people are so.
Yeah.
It's different. It's
It's a
definitely
different issues you're
Like
dealing
growing
with now.
up, we weren't allowed to watch TV shows because the kids were rude or they were disrespectful to their parents. Now I can't let my kids watch TV shows because there's trans people in there, or they're
Yeah,
you know,
just the
openly
amount
putting
Yeah.
I want to say sodomy, but you know, they're openly putting
Lasciviousness.
yes in front of the kids, and it's like, okay, so I'm not going to let my kids watch this. And the number of programs that you actually have that your kids can watch that they don't force feed that garbage in there is very few.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
and
there's
it's
Tuttle Twins for sure.
Yeah, Tyler
but,
Twins is going.
you
But
know,
yeah,
that's
go
not
on.
mainstream.
But what I was thinking was, you know, in the day of Noah, I imagine they had the same technology that we're dealing with now.
Hold up, no, the scientists have
Because they
proven that it was-
act like, oh, they were still in the Stone Age and all this other stuff. But I believe they reached the point that we're starting to reach with AI and everything else. And people just got to the point where they couldn't hear God anymore, and they couldn't live their own, you know, they couldn't get alone anymore. They couldn't get alone with their own thoughts because there was just so much. And maybe they were the last family to actually be able to listen to God, and God had to restart. And he says in the end times, it'll be like the days of Noah. And I feel, and it's scary to think, you know, we're reaching that point
Yeah. Well, you
to
think
where people just can't settle down and actually get alone with God and have clear thoughts, because you know how fast this technology is taking off. You know, I'm afraid
but
that,
even more so back then because they lived 900 years
Yeah.
plus. Like, could you imagine how much you know within the what we'll say like 65 years that most people, the average person lives, plus like say 9 of those lives, you're still alive. You how much you've seen and how much you've acquired in your mind and everything. Like those people had to be brilliant.
Oh yeah,
And it's like
Who
they
knows what they were
declined.
coming up.
Yeah,
with. Yeah.
And so I totally agree that it was they would have had all kind could have had all kinds of stuff that we
people-
don't even
yeah.
know. Like, I mean, you look at the structures and stuff that they built back then.
I
That some of
imagine-
them are still standing today. Like just the Roman, things,
because
pillars and stuff.
Yeah,
Like, we can't even keep a house.
yeah.
In your one lifetime, a house together,
Uh-huh.
and then these people are building cities and stuff.
Because I mean, you see what we're starting to build now. I imagine civilization has got extremely, extremely, what would be the word? Modernized, I guess, and then Christ would have to restart on the kind of knock it back to the original in a way, and that's what happened. And I feel like what happened in Noah's day.
I feel like it
Because
would have had to
Noah-
been something
Noah
big.
might
God
not
didn't
have had
just
to-
delete.
AI, the beast that he,
Yeah.
he gives image or he gives life unto the image.
Yeah.
I mean that thing. That's what I.
Oh,
that's
I've-
what I think. It's
I've
gonna be
heard some
sort
thought.
of AI
Yeah, on
style
that.
thing.
That it could be, because it's like you think about it, and Genesis when it's talking about their hearts being continually wicked, that's you
Yeah.
look at society today, and that's what we are, turning into.
Exactly. You listen to music, everybody's listening. You listen
Oh,
to, I mean, how people talk. I mean, everything is just like, man, what in the world? Where are we at? It's like everybody, you just have to be extremely vulgar or just have, I mean, the worst music is just out of control.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you listen to any kind of R&B or anything like that. It's just like, what
Rap,
in the
yeah.
heck are
Rhythm and
y'all
blues?
What in the heck are y'all listening to? This is your, I mean,
I think you're
it's
thinking
rough.
like hip hop and
hip
rap.
hop, all that
But
stuff.
even then,
it's
even
just-
hip hop is
and then country
terrible.
music nowadays is
It's
just
not even country music.
Yeah.
I mean, other
well,
than the
country
random.
music is dead.
Gotta
But
love
anyway,
no. You got a couple.
those
you
that
have
aren't
to-
famous, once people go famous, it's they're gone.
talking about the Diddy trial.
Oh, okay, I'm out.
No, but you look at who they promote, and half the
Yeah.
time these people don't have any talent. Like, okay, there are some good singers and there is some good talent, but they'll promote people just because they're
Willing to do
They're
anything,
willing to
yeah.
push the agenda. And it's like you have talent out there, like Oliver Anthony, different ones that have real talent at writing songs that actually
Yeah.
reach your heart, and speak to you where you're at in your life, dealing with the situations around you. And they don't get any notoriety, like none. You can't get a record deal. You can't get any type of contract because you're not willing to push that narrative and that agenda. And it's evil. I mean, you look at what these people push, and it is straight evil, and it's designed to corrupt. It's designed to push the boundary of innocence, I think, because you have that progressive overload. Hey, I'm going to push this boundary so far. And you look at some of the award ceremonies and stuff, and just how blatant, like used to, you would hint around at evil and the devil, and just this vague, no, they don't hint around anymore. They will literally dress up as Satan and
Yeah.
and perform on stage for the world to see and be like, hey, we are serving the devil, and we're going to put it
We're
out.
proud of
Yeah, we're
it,
going to
yeah.
put it out there in front of you and say, hey, what are you going to do about it? You're not going to stop listening to our music because we own you, and we just go right along with it. We're
Okay,
like,
I guess you're right.
I guess I can't boycott, because I was listening to one and it was like, oh, we don't boycott anything. And it's like, why not? Why do you not take a stand and say, hey, no, we're not going to support this garbage. We're not going to support this message.
Yeah.
Like different places, we don't shop there because they literally have said, we don't want Christians Starbucks. We don't want your business.
Target.
Yeah, Target. There's reasons that we don't support these companies, and it's because they've literally blatantly said, hey, we're going to push this agenda whether we think you want that or not as a customer. And it's like, as a business, getting into a political movement or something like that is terrible business policy. Like as a business owner, they always say, don't get involved in politics, don't get involved in religion, just run your business and serve the customer. But when we actually are very political, and I feel like it has cost customers. Some people have said, no, we're not going to go down there because they are political and because they do actually say what they believe and they stand for it. But we as Christians don't do that in normal everyday life. We're just, the society, it's normalized so much and just accepted. And it's like, well, that's, we're putting this in front of our children. And even if it's not our children, we're condoning it for other people's children. And it's sick. It's evil.
Well, that's just where it's like, when's enough is enough. Like, at some point, you got to draw a line and say no. Like, for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Like, you got to put those boundaries and those, just like being on your phone. We were talking about it earlier. Like, you got to, for yourself, say, I'm going to discipline myself. I'm going to say no. If you stand for something, you have a company that's going totally against everything you stand for, literally promoting the opposite, it's not worth your money. Like, it's not worth convenience of going down there and getting it. You've got to at some point start making stands, and we got to do it together. We can't just it's not going to matter. But I feel like even if nobody else does it, for your own
conscience,
conscience sake, like, you need, I don't know, you just got to stand for something or you'll fall for everything. And that's what we have done and are continuing to do, is fall for everything and let anything go. And it's like, it's not really my problem. Is it really that bad?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Not your problem yet.
Exactly. True.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just wait. You're the next one. Don't.
No, but that's the thing. Back in the day, I feel like we had a list of places we wouldn't go because of, they would come out, especially Target. Target's been out there forever, along with what's the coffee place? Starbucks. I mean, they're as blatant as you can get. And it seemed like growing up, it was always a thing. You did not go there. If you were a Christian with any kind of morals, you did not drink Starbucks and you did not go to Target.
You just roasted a lot of people.
No, but that's how
it's true. Yeah.
And then it slowly started just
It's not
fading out. It's not that big of a deal. And, you saw more people start going to Publix, or more people start going to
Publix. Now you're roasting Publix. Oh, no.
Publix is great. Publix is great. Don't even worry about it. But anyways, you start seeing people go to Target.
Well, you get lax.
Get them a little
it's
Starbucks
convenient.
coffee, because it's really not that, it started dying off. It's really not that big of a deal anymore. They still believe it, what they said.
How many years went along that the generation died off?
No, it's the same people.
The convictions died off. Yeah.
Oh,
Convictions
okay.
started
I was
dying
like,
off.
man, I'm like, how long has Starbucks been going to war with us? It's been a long time, I guess.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like you said, how long have they been going to war with us? That is how you should see this Christian life. It is a war. Yeah. And you are in the fight. And when you become lenient, they are winning, because now you don't see it as a fight anymore. You see it as, we live in this world. We have to be of this world. And I mean, we're not meant to be of this world, but you know what I mean? And those convictions become more watered down to the point of, do you really believe in anything that you preach about? You go to church every Sunday and you're dogmatic about it, but do you really stand for anything? And do you really, in your everyday life,
that's the thing. It isn't convenient, because there is so many businesses and so many things. They're like, well, if you're boycotting this business, then you got to boycott this one and this one and this one. And it ends up being almost all of them.
It is.
Honestly. But there's some that they are a little bit more outspoken, a little more blatant about it. But that's why at one point it was like, okay, we can't buy anything. And so it was like, okay, you either grow it, you buy it from your neighbors, or you know,
Yeah.
small
Market.
business type of stuff, which is good. Like, I think that's the way to go. We should get to that point where each of us have a, you know, a specialty or something that we're trading and we're bartering, and we don't give them
Small town
these
stuff.
big box companies our money. But that's the thing. Everybody's like, well, you know, if I'm going to shop, I might as well just go here and might as well just have, you know, all this stuff. And that's why I think it does get, because it's like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think that making that practice and continuing to like,
Take a
I don't know,
stand where
take
you
a
can.
stand. Yeah.
Where you can. It, yes, it is everywhere. I wanted the it was Prime Video, Amazon censoring
Oh, yeah,
the
that was fun.
opening to Robin Hood, the 2010 Russell Crowe,
Which I noticed that when I watched it in jail,
in
that it
time
wasn't there.
of tyranny and injustice. When law oppresses the people, the outlaw takes his place in history. I feel like I feel like Trump's trying to help the American people out by putting those tariffs in place, because we have got so consumerized here in America where we just buy everything. What you were just
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Where-
We don't
where-
manufacture nothing anymore.
Well, we need everything. We have to have the newest phone,
Yeah.
even though yours works. we
perfectly fine.
We just trade it in because we have to have that new phone. We have to have the biggest TV. We have to, and we've been so commercialized, and so going back to your roots and just living by not necessarily by necessity, but minimalist living. I hate the like tiny homes and stuff. I'm like,
I don't hate on tiny.
I was gonna say, I
Whoa,
love tiny
man.
homes.
I
Wait a second. You had to be 3 to 4 voting right here at tiny homes.
That's my jam.
y'all, I
understand what
I-
you're saying.
I
Like, just
like
out of control, like
a-
trying to be tiny when
I'd
you could
like
have a
to
nice
have,
house if you can afford it. Like,
I like to
there's
have
nothing
people
wrong with
over.
that. Yeah.
The good Southern hospitality, although I fail at it so often, but I want to. My goal one day is to have a house like Aunt Mary, my aunt. I love her to death, and she is willing to open her home up all the time and have people over, have parties. And my mom and dad were the same way. Mom and dad do that a lot, but that type of hospitality I feel like is dying. And not to get off on a totally another subject, but
That's important though, because I feel like that's the sad thing about a lot of churches and a lot of, you know, groups of people is we never get any further, or you never build that deeper relationships with people, and you never have that connection because you don't ever spend time with each other. You really don't know people other than just like
Pause.
you want me to pause?
no, y'all keep it going.
Other than just like the everyday, hey, how you doing, like basic stuff, because people don't spend time with each other. And so having people over,
That's
and that's
very
why
important.
God gives us such an emphasis on hospitality, because if you don't open your home, or you don't, you know, just make time for actual, how you doing, what's going on in your life, and have time to talk about it. If you
Fellowship.
can't, fellowship, then you're never gonna get a deeper relationship. You're never gonna have those good friendships that are built with time. Like, it really does
Yep.
take a lot of time to have a good relationship where you can trust somebody and be there for somebody, because you actually know, you know,
Which
what's going on.
that's really good. Now, defending the tiny homes, if you want to have the Southern
It's like, that's good. Cool
hospitality
story, bro, but
experience, what you could do is, you put a wraparound porch on the tiny house. You wrap that thing 360 all the way
around.
it.
with a big screened-in porch, and you're good. Yeah.
Everybody loves it.
Just sweat together. As long as everybody's sweating, it's
Just
not a big deal.
Big giant.
It's
cuddle
one
puddle.
person sweating is like, and you come to a party like, oh, I'm soaking wet in sweat. That's a problem. When everybody's out there
Why am I
sweating.
so sweaty?
Why are you so sweaty?
Because it ran so far. Yeah.
Oh, you
Anyways,
should have gave
that's
him a
what I-
ride.
But that's
I love-
that's what we used to do as kids.
Yeah.
The kids were outside. The parents kicked them outside. You ran outside till 3 a.m, sweating to
never
death,
came inside.
playing in the woods or whatever, playing fireworks, all this stuff. Kids knew how to be kids. They knew how to respect that you got to be quiet around the parents, and you didn't need all this fancy stuff and air conditioner. You drank out of the hose. You mind your business, and you didn't go
sometimes-
inside because then the parents would tell you you had to go home.
Oh,
Sometimes
that's
you
one
drink
thing.
oh,
reclaimed
Did I fix
water
the
on
problem?
accident.
We used to have a bell outside that mom would use.
Oh yeah.
That
Was it a southern one?
You you had to come home when she rang that bell, otherwise you'd get in trouble. And so we was like, if you could get far enough out in the swamp that you couldn't hear the bell,
did this
you
all
could,
the time.
you could tell mom that you didn't hear it, and you'd be truthful and not lying, so your conscience wouldn't be bothered. And so we would try every time.
We
And
trudge through the woods
somehow
sometimes.
You'd always hear that bell, and you'd be like, "Nope, I didn't hear nothing. I didn't hear nothing." And you just be like, "Oh, I didn't hear it. I guess I gotta go." But it was always a challenge. See how far we could get out, so we couldn't hear this bell. But that bell had just a perfect sound. that just
the range
carried
of death.
forever. Because as a kid, you'd feel like,
Be
"Oh, I got
way down the pipeline, and we still hear that.
3 miles away."
See,
40 miles away.
listening
bayou.
to y'all, I don't say I did the opposite.
He stayed as close as he could.
Oh, so Gabe was the golden child.
I am finishing my thought.
Always getting us in trouble.
Finishing my thought. No, I would go to where I thought the boundary of the bell would be.
Exactly. You
I
never
could-
push the boundary.
I could still hear the.
You evil children. How dare you even think of crossing the line?
I could see it. I could see Gabe in his
That's
white
one
blue
reason.
jeans with his polo on. His
Now,
Reeboks
kids, you know we aren't supposed to go
pulled
further
up-
than this.
pulled
We
up
won't
to
be able to
hips,
hear the
Across the
bell.
belly button.
Tucked in
Full
with-
on homeschool. Leatherman in the pocket.
It's a multi-tool.
Oh man. With probably the little satchel on the side. He didn't just put it in the pocket. He
Only
had the
problem,
satchel.
which I guess it was a good thing. Gabe had a lot more innocence, or not innocence, but conscious than I did. But he'd always get us in trouble because we do stuff, and then he like, oh, well, I gotta confess, and then we
Let me tell
end
you,
up getting us all in trouble
Wow,
because
I
I'm
know.
like, sheesh, you can't just keep one thing. But I guess it was. I mean, no,
good
it
thing.
wasn't a
Don't-
good thing. I still like it.
Okay.
You gotta get away with some stuff.
Oh no!
I'm
gonna
not
be
a rebel, but it's
the
okay. Go
aunt
ahead.
that
It's okay, kids. Don't
children.
tell your
we
your
won't
parents.
tell your parents.
Oh,
They don't need to know.
As long
no.
as it's not evil, then there you go.
That's the thing. Like,
There you go.
yeah,
Hey, we're gonna go push the boundaries. Mom would.
we're playing in the woods. It's not like yeah.
Yeah. Oh, back to
Anyways,
the
this is
bells. What do y'all think? Why did they pull all the bells? I know they say they took them out of the towns and stuff because they were short on metal.
They were
but
building cannons.
that's what they say. But I feel like there is
I don't know.
other properties.
There's so
No
many
idea
things
what
you
tree
could
you're
go.
talking
I
about,
don't.
so.
Oh, in World War II, they took World War II and One. They took the bells out of all the towns because all the towns used to have bells. These huge bells, and
Because they have a radio now, and they're just like, why?
Yeah.
Why do you need a bell?
I don't know. There's something
No, I think it's
about-
cool, but I think that's
about
what
a
their
bell.
excuse was.
And then-
I don't
They
know.
got it
There's
kinda
we could go
outdated,
on.
I
There's
guess.
all kinds of conspiracies you could go down. Ooh.
Speaking of a conspiracy, you know, I was gonna get deep into a conspiracy, but I won't. So I'm gonna push that to the side and keep people guessing what I was about to talk about. But we're going to the verse of the day. I think that'll be better than my super conspiracy I'm about to get into.
now I want to know what it was.
Comment down below if you think you know what a conspiracy. We act like we got people commenting and stuff. This is
Yeah, okay, I'll tell you.
anyways.
It was actually about my Uncle Martin. He actually went away for a while way back in the day. There's a lot of stories about him. Later on, it was found out that people started calling him Sasquatch and, you know, making up names that, oh, this I found Sasquatch out there. He's half ape, half this and that. super hairy person, super tall. That was actually my Uncle Martin. He just decided to live in the swamp for a long time, and they caught some pictures of him, and I mean, they took off with it. I mean, it's all over the place. So, next time someone thinks they saw Sasquatch, it's really my Uncle Martin, and you should just be nice to him and say hello, because it's been a long time since someone actually spoke to him.
I was trying to think of what the Sasquatch's name was in that movie. Is it Henry? The little live action one?
I didn't never see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
You're on your own, man.
Hey, Martin.
Hey, Martin, it's okay. We'll be. You can come back.
It's okay. That 5 minutes of your life is free.
Do you want a sandwich?
It's real life stuff, all right? I don't have the facts to prove it, but it's real.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, let's get to the verse, because that was some bull crap.
How do you know?
I've never heard of Uncle Martin.
Okay, whatever. Well, that's why I said it was my Uncle Martin, not anybody else's Uncle.
We share the same lineage.
Verse of the day.
Verse of the day. Let's get into it. What do we got, Joe?
Oh, well. So,
There I
We
am,
got-
going back to. I must confess, I've never heard of Uncle Martin.
Like I said, facts proven.
Dang it.
I'm sorry. You can
Sorry,
go ahead.
Joey. Go ahead.
no, it's good. It's good stuff. Man, so we have John chapter 1. We were kind of talking about what we were going to do, and ultimately I just decided to do
It
it.
totally changed it, 'cause I don't even remember.
He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. I just thought it was appropriate. Sons of the warrior,
That's right.
and how you become that son. And here it is. It's that simple. So the word even here, where it says even to them that believe on his name, that's the same as saying that is. So the way that you become a son of God is through belief.
Yes.
Yeah. And it wasn't by who you are. It doesn't matter if you're born Jew or Greek. It's not about if you could do good enough. It's not the will of the flesh that was able to make you a son of God,
Thank the Lord.
nor was it the will of man. So no matter how much, if God had not come in the flesh, if he had not come as your savior, you could not have righted the wrong. He had to come to you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that was why he became, man, ultimately bearing your sins on the cross as a propitiation for your sins, and then being raised again so that we can have newness of life.
The newness of life.
Be a son
Man.
through the only son.
Yeah.
That's a
Wow,
serious
that's good.
serious thing. I mean, I was thinking about that.
It's a humbling.
Yeah, just the gravity of how extreme that is, and I don't think we can really grasp it in our worldly minds how much God gave us in that, just simply, giving us that his name in a way, being a part of his lineage. And, if that was the only thing Christ did for us, I don't think we could ever, in 100 lifetimes repay that. But yet he gives us that, eternal life, salvation. And then he's like, but then I have so much more for you after that. Then I'll take you and I'll give you my word. I'll give you your blueprints of what how you should live your life, and all the warnings of the different things you're going to face in this life, and the good, the bad, all the things, and I'll give you that, and then I'll give you my spirit, so I'll help you and guide you through this life, and give you my joy, give you my peace, and then after that, I have a home for you too in heaven that I'm preparing for you, something that you can't even imagine how good that is.
Yeah.
And just, stacking these just blessings that we don't deserve, and yet we still think it's, I'm a Christian, I guess I'm not going to tell everybody about that because I don't want to be overbearing, but, I am, I guess a Christian. And we're almost ashamed to call ourselves Christians and ashamed of his name that he's given us. And I wonder how, you just think of how sad that is when, you're in a group of people and, and I've done this. I've been there where you're in a group of guys and, they're not Christians and you almost feel like, I don't want to say that I'm a Christian because then I'll act like that, that guy that he doesn't do anything fun or anything like that. And you're almost ashamed. I wonder what that, that sadness that it brings Christ when he knows I gave you so much and yet you don't care.
Right.
But anyways.
But you get a full circle here. So another verse popped in my head. It's Luke chapter 3, there at the end. So basically it starts, when Luke gives the genealogy, he starts at Christ and then works his way backwards instead of like Matthew who goes the other direction.
Right.
But he ends it with, which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. So it's full circle.
Right.
God, he fixed that which was broken.
Yeah.
We were meant to be sons.
Yes.
God wanted us as his children. He loved us all, right? And Adam was the son of God, and Jesus came to fulfill that. He came to fix that which was broken, to find that which was lost. And so I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. No, that's good. I did a study on holiness one time and just understanding the holiness of God and how pure and so what it means when he gives us that covering of holiness and we become Christ-like through him. And it's not through anything that we do, but we become holy. So when he looks on us, he doesn't see that the sin and the evil that we've done. He sees a son, and it should bring us so much joy. But we glaze over it so much and we just take it for granted. Oh yeah, I'm saved. And we don't realize that we look at these sins and what we were talking about earlier and how vile the world has become and how evil it's become. But the Lord takes one white lie and he looks at it the same as he does all those other things, because perfection, his holiness is perfect. His holiness is so pure. And so often we don't see it that way. We just see, he's done this for us, but we don't fully count the blessings that he has given us in that gift, in that free gift.
I feel like it's just like the same thing we do. I think it's just the human mindset of same thing we do with people. Like we'll put certain people, like be respecter of people.
Oh yeah.
Like we'll put certain people, they're better than this person, or, higher in a higher standard where he's like, you need to entertain everybody because you never know, it may be an angel, that you're entertaining unawares. God doesn't want you to put certain people on a pedestal. You're supposed to, have respect for all mankind and, reach out to everybody. Same thing with sin. Like we put certain sins on a higher pedestal than other things. And, to him, it's all sin. Sin is sin.
Yeah.
But, I think he does. There's certain, like we talked about the other day, like the abominations. He does highlight certain things.
Yeah.
But I feel like it doesn't make us any less. Like
No.
we still need one sin would be enough
To keep you out of heaven.
to not get that.
And we especially people that are counting, trying to balance the scales and not bringing condemnation on anybody, but you talk to people, I'm a good person, and it's like, but you actually look at Christ and that holiness, and it's like it doesn't. I mean, any sin, anything that goes against his law.
You said, but I'm a good person. I was like, but you're not.
But you're not.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Like,
Yeah, we're born in sin. Like even
you're comparing yourself to God. You're looking at other people around you and comparing yourself to other people, and it's like, well, that's sadly not the standard. Mm-hmm. God is the standard,
and that's why he gives us the
and
law.
so that's why the gift that Christ gave us on the cross is so precious.
there's a quote by Charles Spurgeon. He's basically said, he's like, I don't get upset about what people say, about me, because if they really knew me, it would be worse.
Right. Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
That's good. That's good.
And so, I mean, that's everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
If you're real with yourself.
if you are real with yourself, and if that were true, because I sadly sometimes do get upset when people say things about me, because it's our pride. It's our pride gets in the way, and we're like, hey, no. And then we, if you actually looked at it like that, and you were like, hey, really?
At least that's all they're saying about me.
That
I'm
is
doing
all.
pretty good.
But we don't. We put on blinders, and we're like, hey, well, I'm better than you, sir. You should be saying those things about me.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I want you to respect me for these things that I've done. And it's like, well, they could be condemning you for the things that you've done, but they're not. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Powerful.
No, I like that. I was hearing old Reg Kelly. If y'all want to hear some really good preaching, Liberty Baptist, is that what it is?
I think it is.
Liberty Baptist, I think it is. But anyways, he's doing some preaching. I was listening to him and just how he's preaching on the seriousness of Christ and how he is all grace and all loving, but yet he is the perfect judge, and how he is the rock that you will crash upon if you do not have Jesus, and you will, if you are trying to have a work-based salvation, then you are going to, your standard is perfection,
Yeah.
and you will crash upon that rock if you don't have the grace of God. And anyways, I thought it was something else, just how God gives us that picture of perfection.
Yes.
He is an all holy God. And but speaking of something else, I was just thinking of I don't know if this is completely going off subject, but
Shoot.
but it was, how your willpower can keep you alive. You've heard of so many stories of people staying alive because of simply their willpower to want to see somebody before they go, or just the willpower to.
Yeah.
I wonder, you think about that. I wonder, because death is an angel, the death angel, and he comes at certain times when it's your time to go. And I wonder if he is, sees people with that willpower and says, all right, you'll go a little bit longer. I'm going to give you time until, you know what I'm saying? It's a far shot out there, but, you hear us about, Marcus Luttrell and these different men that, they should have died, but they absolutely fought tooth and nail to drag themselves and continue that fight and not having that will to give up. And, and different people on bed rest and about to die, and yet they say, well, I want to see such and such a person, or I want to see somebody, so I'm going to fight to stay
God
alive
honors
and tell
that.
them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is an honorable, trait.
It
That will to not quit, to continue the fight until the very end.
Which just like that, what was the king in the Bible that prayed for more time and God gave him 15 more years? He didn't have to, he asked God, and God saw, and gave him 15 more years. And that's what I think it was neat. Like, God, it doesn't I guess just because you think it's your time doesn't mean you can't try to stay alive as long as possible.
Because I believe sometimes it is.
the
Lord calls you home instantly and you're done.
There's nothing you can do about it.
But, that thought of God holds the keys to death and life, because in the end times it says no one will be able to die. And that's where they come up with the idea of zombies and stuff, is because you can't, death is no longer around. And, in the Old Testament, when the children of Israel was trying to get out of Israel, the death angel went through. And if you didn't have the blood on your door, your firstborn child would die. And
they're in Egypt.
In Egypt. And, the Lord is the giver of death and life. And, we think of death and life as this, everybody experiences it, but yet we know very little about it. And, but I believe the Lord does have respect for that willpower to survive, that will to want to go on, to fight the fight, to continue that fight. And when you give up, He's like, all right, well,
Okay. Yeah.
I'll take you then. But
You don't see it
And,
as much anymore.
Yeah.
But like the people on their deathbeds when they would wait. People, you heard stories about
I
that
think
all
it's
the
still, it's still,
yeah,
They
there's,
do, well,
still
they
quite
drug
a
them
bit.
so much now
well, that, yeah, I think that is the
that
truth.
they don't.
Like, unfortunately, a lot of people are so lucid.
You barely ever hear of anybody dying in their homes, but that used to happen all the time.
yeah,
Like,
they want to see their whole family there before they go.
they wanted the family around them, and
that was what's so sick about COVID and everything.
oh
like,
yes,
that was pure demonic. The fact when
Evil.
you couldn't even go to your family member while they were in the hospital and see them on their deathbed or while they were sick. I mean, that makes such a huge difference. When you're laying in a hospital bed, for one, it's miserable. Even if you're not that sick, like just being in there visiting somebody is miserable. Such a sterile environment, all the beeps, and then constantly messing with you. And if you're sick, like you just having that person with you makes all the difference. And for one, you need somebody there to watch over, make sure they ain't giving them wrong medicine and stuff.
yeah.
But just the evilness of not allowing people to be with their loved ones at the end, like that alone, I feel like.
Oh,
But that's
Yeah.
what
it was.
you know. Speaking of seeing death and life in a different ways, I was my granny. She was reading a book from. I'm trying to remember the name of the missionary, but he was a missionary over in China, and it was such a fight. I mean, you talk about a spiritual war that he was in constantly, starting churches and things would happen. People would get sick, and he would get depressed of thinking, you know, people don't want this. People back home don't care, and then he would get back on fire and realize, you know, hey, I got to continue the fight the good fight. And he said he got to a point where he just realized, I'm done living for anybody else. This is all for Christ. And when you saw that, when you saw your life as I am a sacrifice for Christ, and I will live and fight the good fight till God calls us home, because that's when I am done. When I am done is when God says, you know, come on home. And he said,
good and faithful servant.
exactly. And he said, I want to fight to the end and not be ashamed of, you know, what I did here. And in the end, his wife died, and she got really bad sick after childbirth, and that other child he had, it died along with his wife, and they had gone through so much. And he was, you know, he got to the point where he was writing a letter back to his sister and said, I'm so, you know, joyful. I'm sad that she's gone, but I'm so happy that she finished her fight. I can't wait till I get there. And I just thought, man, that's such a powerful thought. You know, just you've got to the point of faith where I'm so happy for my wife because she finished. And, you know, just thinking of he was ready to go. He's like, I'm going to continue the fight. I'm going to keep going so I can leave like she did. And so I can go to my family in heaven because I know they're waiting. And, you know, we think of our life here, and that's how we should picture our life. Continue that fight. You know, find your place, find your mission, and get there until, you know, and fight that fight until God calls you home. Because that's when you're done. That's when you can retire, is when God calls you home, not yourself, not when you feel like you've got to a certain age and you know, your government says, okay, now you're retired. Now you can, you know, quit. But he said it's all for him. It's all for Christ. And when he calls me home, when my fight is over, is when he says, come on home. And, you know, he looked at death as this joyful thing and not a sad thing, that he's like, they finished their course and he can't wait to get to that point.
I love that pastor that we listened to. We listened to a lot of guys on the radio when we were out. And he said, like, I want to get to heaven, and I don't want to just get to heaven. I want to come in screeching and my truck's falling apart, like falling off, like worn slap out, because I know I lived as hard as I could for the Lord. And I was like, that's such a cool picture, you know, just like
Yeah.
tearing and barely make it like just
He's like,
coming in a blaze of
I don't
glory
wanna
coming
get
in,
there
not
in this
just
pristine body that God gave. I want
you'd
to
be wore slab out because you gave it all, and I love that because it's just a good we ain't trying. Why are we trying to preserve this body? Like God's given it to us to use.
Which
Get off
I know,
your
like
butts.
David Goggins isn't. I don't. Maybe he is. I don't know if he is or isn't. But he talks about that kind of in the more physical aspect. He's like, so you're telling me you want to be 90 with a perfect body? He's like, you want to die having accomplished nothing? He's like, you want good knees and a strong back, and like a not hurting back. His back's probably strong, even though it hurts. But he's like, you want a good back with no pain and knees that don't crunch. He's like, and you want to have not accomplished anything?
It sounds awful.
I don't know. Because there was a while that I wasn't working out, and my body hurt. Like I
just kind
felt
of ache.
Your body's made to be used.
felt old. I started working out again a while back, and just even though you're sore, your muscles are tired, and you're like sore in places that you forgot could be sore, you didn't hurt the same way. And and I feel like so often we sit down in the chair and we don't get back up, and we're like, oh, I'm just old. My body hurts. I can't do those things anymore. And it's like, yes, you could. You just would rather the hurt of sitting on the couch, your body just decomposing.
I think that's just like
than actually putting in the work and your body hurting from the workout. And I was listening to a guy, and he's like, the biggest help to longevity is actually lifting heavy things. And my uncle he lived to be in his almost 90 years old, but he wasn't he hated exercise, but he would work on the farm. He worked his butt off, and he would, hey, we're fixing the disc. He'd get up there, and we'd put blocks under it. So he would be lifting stuff.
He just picked the whole 3-point attachment up.
That was my that was my grandpa. He was like 350 pounds and 6'6", and he would do that. Pick the front end of the car up so you could put the blocks under it and stuff. But my uncle was the opposite. It was like they were both tall, so it wasn't like the short chubby guy and the tall skinny guy. They were both really tall, but he was tall and skinny, like maybe 200 pounds, and then my grandpa was tall and chunky,
I love
fat,
skinny. When most men have a hard time getting to 200 pounds. That's a big man. Even
he was tall though.
Oh no, he was skinny, but he was 6'7".
Oh,
so 200 pounds stretched over that frame is it's still not very big, but
I'm imagining a bigger version of Sam Doolin.
Yes. If you met my cousin Vance, he looked a lot like Uncle Jim used to. Has same mannerisms too. It's funny. He has the stories. My uncle was a great storyteller, the old-fashioned storyteller, like Johnny, except
not like me.
Actual factual stories.
He could remember places where he grew up. Like he's almost 90 years old, and he's remembering the street that he grew up on and people's names on that street. I'm like, man, I can't even remember what I did last week, let alone somebody's name from when I was a child. Like half the people that he went to school with, he could still tell you their names and where they lived and what they did, and it's like, wow.
Some wild stuff out there, man.
We still didn't get into any. We didn't get to anything on my list as far as.
We never do.
I know. I don't even know why.
I don't know. He makes these lists of like, we need to do this.
I look down at the list and just let's bypass. Make sure we don't get to any of that.
Talk about any of this. Literally. So many good things. Hey, before we go, I do want to encourage people. The left is putting so much pressure on Trump and the Trump administration to not do the things we elected him to do, to not give us free speech back, to not push back against the woke agendas and things, and even our congressmen and representatives. We had our first meeting of the Polk County help me out. RAPCA, and just the importance of putting pressure on our representatives. They represent us. They work for us. It's our jobs to remind them of that, and so that they actually get busy doing stuff that we want them to do, and not twiddle their thumbs and
or
really
be opposition
Yeah,
to getting
stonewall.
things done.
I mean,
That's
you-
the whole craziness of it.
You look at the Congress that we have right now, and
We should be able to get all kinds of stuff
oh
going.
no, we have actually done less in Congress this session than any other Congress.
Well, yeah, I mean, didn't they shoot down our Hush Act?
They've shot down, well, they haven't done anything. They've literally shut down every single bill that's been presented. I don't know if we've passed barely anything. It's crazy. We have a president that's having to do everything by executive order. Literally, he's getting nothing.
I say do it.
Right now, yes. He's the only one doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm ready for when you were talking about the COVID stuff, Uncle Tommy.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought of. Like,
I literally
still to this day makes me sick.
oh, it was. I was getting emotional, but it was evil not letting the family. I got to see him a few days before he passed, but they took him to the hospital, and it was so sad to see him, on his deathbed and not getting to spend the last days with his family, with his mother, with his brothers and sisters, he poured so much of his life into us as his nieces and nephews, and to have them do that to him where he died alone it was evil, and they have not held those people accountable.
Yeah.
They have not brought those people to justice that did that.
Well, just the same thing. Like Johnny couldn't even come to the funeral because we were literally being hunted. And if he had to come to the funeral, he would have been thrown in jail. Like just the fact of how many families got torn apart during the J6 stuff, couldn't be with their family members when they were on their, like, parents died while they were in jail, or just these major life things happen that they've gotten stolen from them. Those people need to be held accountable.
Oh, yes.
Like just that,
No.
there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen that
That's-
they're
I
slow rolling and
Oh yeah, no.
and
Pam
putting
Bondi has got to get busy prosecuting some of these people, and if she's not going to do it, somebody else needs to step in and take her place, because it's got to happen. Because if it doesn't, then
Nothing's going to change.
yes,
we're going to be in the same exact place 10 times worse 4 more years.
yeah, and so keep pressing.
Get out there.
Yeah, keep pressing towards
God gave you a
voice. Use it.
That's right.
What's your challenge? We're leaving them with a challenge this week.
discipline yourself
Run a mile every day.
Wow. That's a lot.
every day.
Every day I'm hustling. I do too,
It's actually,
but I need it.
It's good for you though, but
It is good for you. Yeah.
you just get out there and do it.
Joey's
it
like,
takes
it's so
what
easy.
at the max 9-10 minutes.
Yeah, even if you're running slow, you can do it in 10 minutes. But I feel like I can just do it in
If you
10
want to
minutes.
walk, it can take 10 minutes.
But you're all sweaty, and then you gotta, so it takes longer than just the actual physically running.
I know.
But-
Isn't that sad that we're all over here groveling over? We used to a mile. This is sad.
small time in it. Hey,
That's what discipline is important, and I'm
Yes.
talking to myself, not to anyone else.
no, that is.
I have been
that is
lax.
so true.
Slacks.
Shellacked.
Like,
And with that-
like a shoe.
Here we go. Hey, thank y'all so much for tuning in this week. Check us out on Rumble. They don't censor us as heavy on Rumble. After we started talking about the Dominion machines, they started coming after us.
That's
Are-
crazy.
But
Are we standing up?
hey, yeah,
That's the new thing. Johnny just leaves.
thank y'all so much. We'll catch y'all again next week.
Yeah, man.